Jack Grealish, the man with the £100 million price tag and the calves of a Greek statue, has officially arrived at that moment in every footballer's life, the career crossroads. Should he turn left toward Napoli, right toward Frankfurt, or just do a U-turn back to Aston Villa with his hair blowing in the wind? 2 years ago, he was sipping champagne after winning the treble. Now, he's sipping bench water while Phil Foden gets all the camera time. And the worst part? Not even Pep knows what to do with him anymore. Let's dive in, shall we? 1. From treble hero to bench ornament. The Great Vanishing Act. Grealish started just 7 Premier League games this season. 7. That's not a rotation player, that's a Netflix guest cameo. He didn't even get a run-out when City were losing the FA Cup final to Crystal Palace. That's right, Crystal Palace. And for the final game of the season, he wasn't even in the squad. Man didn't just fall out of favor, he fell off the seeding chart entirely. Pep said, "It's nothing personal." Classic breakup line. That's what people say right before they block your number. Imagine showing up to training every day only to find out your role is emotional support mannequin. Guardiola's quote was basically, "I brought him here, I begged him to stay, but now he's someone else's problem." Take it up with Txiki and the Avengers. It's like buying a Ferrari and then using it to hold groceries in the garage while you ride your bike to work. Grealish's current position at City, somewhere between used sub and Pep's emotional regret. And let's not forget the most damning moment, when City desperately needed creativity off the bench. Pep looked at Grealish and chose no one. Not even a panic substitution. That's like being the only pizza at a party and still not getting picked. If body language could speak, Grealish's was saying, "I wore the shin pads for this." It's one thing to be benched, it's another to be benched when you're the solution and still get passed over like last season's boots. 2. Creativity still exists. Somewhere between the lines. Sure, Grealish has just 1 assist per season lately, but don't let those stats fool you. His expected assists are amazing, which is another way of saying, hey, he passed it to someone who messed it up. It's not his fault the team didn't finish. It's like giving someone a cake mix, eggs and instructions, and they still burn down the kitchen. Grealish might not have the actual stats, but he's got all the vibes. Just ask the XA spreadsheets. You can't blame the chef if the waiter drops the food before it hits the table. His highlight reel is mostly almost assists. You know, passes that made you go ooh until someone missed from 6 yards. If assists were based on effort and good intentions, Grealish would win the Ballon d'Or. Stat nerds are out here defending him like, no, you don't understand. His underlying metrics are elite. Okay, but the scoreboard still says 0 point, and let's be honest, some of those chances were so perfect they should have come with a bow on top. But instead of a goal, we got a wild swing into Rosie and Jack doing that slow-motion arms-out frustration pose like he's auditioning for a Greek tragedy. At this point, Grealish's teammates owe him an apology and maybe a fruit basket, because he's out there creating gourmet meals and they're using them as doorstops. 3. Pep ball versus Jack ball. The tactical tug-of-war. Grealish is like a jazz musician forced to play in an orchestra. His flair is being stifled by Pep's pass-it sideways for 45-minute system. He used to take on defenders like it was a bar fight. Now he receives the ball, takes a few steps, sighs deeply, and passes backwards like he's lost all hope. His pass sonar now looks like a microwave manual. Press start, go backwards. Jack Grealish under Guardiola is like trying to freestyle rap during a math lecture. It just doesn't fit. Remember when he used to dribble past 5 defenders? Now he's just auditioning for the role of reliable possession recyclist. Watching him in City's system is like seeing a lion trapped in a library. He's majestic but confused. If Guardiola's tactics are a prison, Jack's cell is made of triangles and inverted fullbacks. And Pep's definition of freedom? It's letting Jack roam 5 yards up the touchline instead of 3. Woohoo! Meanwhile, you can see the chaos in Grealish's soul trying to break free, like an artist told to paint only in grayscale. He's out there checking his GPS for the nearest transition moment, only to find himself surrounded by 5-yard passes and the full right back overlapping like an Excel spreadsheet. 4. So where next? Grealish's magical mystery tour. Let's be honest. Returning to Villa would be the football equivalent of getting back with your ex who glowed up while you were gone. He'd slot right back in as their beloved number 10. If only Unai Emery didn't already have 3 other midfielders and 2 wingers in that exact role. Villa's midfield is basically a crowded Uber right now. Grealish trying to squeeze into Villa's 11 is like trying to RSVP to a party that's already at capacity. Emery's project is so stacked he'd have to sub out his own tactics to make room for Jack's hair gel. But emotionally, that reunion would sell jerseys. Villa fans would start naming their dogs Jack again. Villa's Champions League dream with Grealish? It's giving rom-com third act twist. It's the perfect love story, except there's no space left in the bed. And you just know the marketing team already has the comeback campaign ready. The Prince returns. Billboards, murals, maybe even a custom claret and blue headband. But let's not forget, this fairy tale only works if he's actually playing football, not just posing for Instagram next to Ollie Watkins and a golden retriever. Otherwise, it's less the return of the king and more the reunion nobody asked for. 5 budget airlines of football. Crystal Palace, Forest and Bournemouth. Next up, the clubs where flair goes to party. Palace, Forest and Bournemouth. Tactical freedom, transitions galore, and no Pep watching your every back pass like a disappointed dad. Sure, Jack may have to take a pay cut, but on the plus side, he'd actually play football. Palace is basically a freestyle dance floor. Eze and Olise would welcome Jack like a long-lost vibe cousin. At Forest, he could be the king of chaos, just Jack and vibes, running at defenders like it's 2019. Bournemouth? You laugh, but they play faster football than City on Red Bull, and the beach is right there. At least in these teams, when he loses the ball, it's considered expressive risk-taking, not treason. Let's be real, he'd be the only £100 million signing to ever wear AFC Bournemouth's kit with Dior sunglasses. And sure, the stadiums might be smaller and the tunnels slightly less glamorous, but you can't put a price on freedom. Jack would be going from tactical boarding school to football's equivalent of an all-inclusive resort. No more death stares from Pep for trying a roulette. Just him, a wide pitch and full license to cook. It's basically therapy, only with shin pads and screaming fans. 6. Bundesliga break, Germany calling. If all else fails, Grealish could pull a Sancho and take the Deutsche Bahn to redemption. Eintracht Frankfurt's third-place finish, high transitions, and Champions League spot make them a surprisingly perfect match. Germany is where English players go when they need therapy and through balls. Frankfurt plays in space so open, Jack might mistake it for a 5-a-side cage without walls. He could be their dribbling messiah. Just put him on the wing and say, "Run, Jack, run." Plus, the food is better, the pressure is lower, and he doesn't have to explain Love Island references to German fans. If Kane, Dier, and Sancho can do it, why not Jack? Worst case scenario, he becomes a Bundesliga cult icon with a craft beer sponsorship. And let's be honest, if there's one league that'll let Jack Grealish express himself without screaming discipline, every 5 minutes it's the Bundesliga. Half the coaches look like they moonlight as techno DJs, and the football is pure chaos with structure. It's like giving Jack a blank canvas, then handing him 6 Red Bulls and a paintbrush. He'd be taking on fullbacks, dancing through press lines, and possibly launching his own bratwurst flavor by Christmas. Napoli Knights or Milan glow up. Ah yes, the Italian job. Napoli needs left-wing flair. Jack has flair. Napoli has Champions League. Jack has bench splinters. The match? Almost too poetic to ignore. Grealish strutting down Naples streets in Gucci loafers is a Netflix doc waiting to happen. Serie A would eat up his dramatic dives and hair flips. That league lives for theatrics. Napoli's transitional play is like an empty highway, and Jack has a Ferrari foot. Let the boy drift. If Dele can find himself in Como, Jack can find himself in Naples, or at least get a decent tan. Milan would be sexy too. Just imagine the photo ops with Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, and a Vespa. And if there's one thing Italy knows how to do, besides pasta and political drama, it's romanticizing a flawed genius. Jack would instantly become the league's favorite tragic artist. The media would call him Il Maestro della Mezzala, and locals would claim he was born to wear Napoli blue. Whether he's scoring or just looking good while nearly doing so, Serie A would treat him like football's answer to a fashion runway poet. 8. The money problem. £3,000 a week swagger. Now here's the catch. He's on £300,000 a week wages. That's not just expensive, that's you better win us the league, or at least TikTok engagement money. And with his 30th birthday approaching, that resale value is looking like an iPhone 7 in 2025. Buying Grealish now is like buying a luxury car that needs servicing every month, but hey, it still looks great in photos. Clubs aren't just buying a player, they're buying a marketing campaign. Public partying, occasional injuries, and ghost assists? It's a package deal. Some clubs want ROI, others want a player who can pull off a Louis Vuitton tracksuit. Grealish offers both. To sign him is to believe in magic, and to pay like it's still 2021. And let's not forget the financial negotiation nightmare. Any club willing to take him on would need to convince their board, their accountants, and probably a few saints that this is a wise investment. Picture a director of football trying to justify Grealish's wages by pulling up highlight reels of him dancing in Ibiza and shouting, "Look, brand value." Meanwhile, the club's finance guy is in the corner whispering, "We could have signed 3 Eberechi Ezes for that price and still had money for shin pads." Closing thoughts. From Gucci Jack to comeback king? So, is this the end of Jack Grealish the superstar? Or just the beginning of his redemption arc? Will he dance again in Naples, dribble free in Frankfurt, or headline the Villa comeback tour? One thing's for sure, Jack Grealish still has the skills, the swagger, and the calves to make defenders cry. He just needs a team that doesn't ask him to pass backwards like it's a legal requirement. Let us know where you think Jack should go next. Hit that like button, subscribe, and remember, no matter where Jack ends up, it'll be entertaining. Because if there's one thing Jack Grealish knows how to do, it's give us a show.